Hey, good afternoon, y'all. I'm Donnie, and I'd like to invite you to join me this beautiful afternoon for a pipe and a pour. Hey, welcome back to the channel, y'all. Thank you for stopping by for a few minutes on this beautiful, at least here in Middle Tennessee, Palm Sunday afternoon. Quick question for you though. Is your bracket busted? If you're a sports fan like me, fill out your bracket for the NCAA basketball tournament. What a wild ride, huh? If you're not a basketball fan, you can just go ahead and fast forward or hang around for just a minute. Won't be long, but way to go, Big Orange. Tennessee Vols pulled out a victory, an ugly victory last night over the Texas Longhorns, that other UT with that ugly kind of orange. But I have been enjoying the basketball for sure. The greatest 4 days of the spring. Until Easter. And the Masters. Anyway, it's all good stuff. And I'm thankful for it. Coming to you live this afternoon from the Pipe and Pour studio in the backyard, as you can tell. And I am smoking this afternoon. Today's pipe. This is my paneled Billiard from the fantastic pipe maker, Rich Rosilli, Smithhouse pipes. And you can see here this beautiful, fantastic, get in there. You can see the red in there in this stem. Kind of a dark reddish brown stain. Great blast on there. Just a fantastic pipe. Highly recommend. Smokes like a dream. And he's been producing some fantastic looking things. If the March and April pipe and pour budget wasn't already spent, he's had some tempting ones out there, y'all. So thank you, Rich, for this one. I love it a lot. This afternoon's pour. Took the dog for a walk. Old Levi, he and I went for a walk. Got a little warm, mid 60s. Again, beautiful afternoon. And I came back wanting something refreshing. And I learned that it's National Cocktail Day. Had no idea. So I went with a very simple, one of my all-time favorites though. I went with the Kentucky Mule. I made a Kentucky Mule. And I made it with this 4-year-old Pinhook. There's the pour. Pinhook Straight Rye Whiskey from 2020 to 97 proof 4-year-old rye whiskey from Pinhook, which is a non-distiller producer. They buy their booze from places. They buy their whiskey from places and blend it together. And I feel like they do a fantastic job. I'm a big fan. You've heard me talk about it before. So I went 2 ounces of that, 2-ish ounces. About a ½ ounce of lime juice, fresh squeezed lime juice, and then topped it with ginger beer. Perfect this warm, sunny afternoon. So cheers. And I'm coming true on a promise I made you guys. I know you've not held me accountable for it, and that's okay. I didn't expect you to, but in the pipe, I'm coming back to Artisan's blend from Ashton. So, if you remember from 2 months ago, January-ish. Yeah, maybe I think it was the very first blend that I tried in my English exploration, because I'd heard so much about it, great reviews, and so many people are like, try this one, it's one of my favorites, top 5, I always have it. And if you remember, I got it, and you could tell right away the tin, the seal was busted, and it just was dried out. And it tasted like dry nothing. It was warm air. It had no flavor to it. So I popped it into a jar. Gave it a good spritz with some distilled water and let it sit for the last 6-8 weeks then. So as I was choosing what to revisit today, I was like, you know what? I need to get to that before the end of March. Because at the end of March, I'm saying goodbye to English blends for a little bit, moving on to something else. Hey, Levi. Levi says, good afternoon, y'all. So, as you may recall, so I've just let it sit with the distilled water for the last couple of weeks in an attempt to rehydrate it, see if I can get anything out of it. And when I checked in on it here a couple weeks ago, you could tell there was some moisture in there. Obviously, I sprayed distilled water and sealed it up in a jar. So when I dumped it out on the tray here to get it ready to pack my pipe, it did still feel fairly dry and crispy. It's not burning hot by any stretch of the imagination. It is burning quick though. There is some flavor to it. It's just still not as much as I expected, to be honest. So for me, the jury is still out on this one. We'll keep revisiting and investigating. We'll see how it goes, right? As you can tell, it's pretty windy, breezy out here today. Anyhow, yeah, so as we get to the end of March, next week is the end of March, and I am not going to get through all the English blends I wanted to. And I'm not going to add anything else to the mix. I don't want to muddy the waters more than I already have, let's be honest. So I'm going to go back and kind of start looking back at my notes and rethinking about sort of where everything fell into place, if I had to rank them, that kind of thing. So more to come on that one. Stay tuned. I still don't know what I'm going to do next. I may just go with whatever I feel like. I don't know if I want to put the mental effort into studying a particular type of blend or be beholden to a certain type of blend. I may just go with whatever I feel like for a little bit. We'll see. If you got any ideas or suggestions, let me know. Say, hey, check this out, Donnie. But anyway, I will say that this round with the Artisan's blend is much, much better than the first. So maybe crawling out of the cellar, I have to go back and revisit all the rest of them to know really where it lines up, right? Anyway. The real purpose of today's video, I've got a couple of VRs I wanted to do. One for Armchair Ed, the other for Flat Cat Piper, Raphael. And because it has been such a wild and crazy time right now as spring gets sprung, I don't know when I'm going to have a chance to sit down and smoke a pipe again. Those times are fleeting right now. So first to Armchair Ed, 4 years, which is absolutely amazing. Congratulations to you, sir. As always, thank you for your service to our great nation. Truly fighting for freedom. To your question, how do I choose my favorite pipe? I have been thinking about this for the last couple of weeks since I saw your prompt for the first time. And it's got me thinking, how do I figure it out? What process do I go through? What's my thought process? And I don't know that it starts with the pipe. For me, I think it starts with the mood. Where am I? What am I thinking about? What am I hoping? This goes to a question that Paladin just asked here recently. What do we hope to get out of a blend? How do we choose our blend? What draws us to the blend? And so I think that's where it starts for me. And the pipe is sort of the last piece of the puzzle. First thing is, what do I expect to get out of it? Do I have a long time, a short time? Am I in a contemplative mood? Am I energetic? Am I excited? Is it celebratory? Is it settling down? Is it, getting revved up? Depending upon that mood, that's how I go and choose the blends typically. Aside from the last 3 months where I've only been doing English blends exclusively. And once I've landed on which blend I'm in the mood for, then the pipe comes naturally after that. I've got those that I smoke aromatics out of only. I've got now some that sort of have been the workhorses in my English exploration. And I've got the others that I think, are going to be fun to take any blend. So that is, for you, Armchair Ed, how I pick out my favorite pipe. Again, congratulations, buddy. Keep up the fun, entertaining work and not taking yourself or Dr. Bo or the captain too seriously. Second part, VR for Flat Cap. I had the chance to meet him and his lovely bride, Lady Fire, and their 2 boys, Jonathan and Lucas, I believe, at the Muletown show, and just really delightful people. Just spend a couple minutes chatting with them a little bit, so glad they were able to make it. Great to meet you guys, and equally amazing the number of subscribers that you guys have grown to. I love it. Keep up the great work there as well. Light and refreshing and energetic. I love it. And it also gives us a different, I'll go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room, a different demographic to the pipe smoking community. And I appreciate that from you guys. Thank you for being part of the community and for driving community, which I think is exactly why you asked the question that you did. And I want to thank you for that, Raphael. What do we do to help or improve the YTPC? And it's great that you asked this question on the heels of just within a couple of weeks of the Muletown show, the Chicago show coming up in just a couple of weeks as well. I think one of the things that I found lacking in my experience, again, I'll use the Muletown show because that's recent, so there's some recency bias there, but also it's fresh on my mind, and it was something I was thinking about during the show and afterwards. There are some of us who know each other fairly well through our YouTube interactions, comments. We watch each other's videos a lot, so we know them by name. We know them by sight, what they look like. I think one of the things that would help the YTPC become stronger, and again, none of us have time for more more meetings, more organization, but I think that would help if we could somehow better communicate our presence at shows so that we could have a standard, a pole in the ground, a flag on the pole to say, hey, YTPC folks, presenter and commenter, lurker, whatever, interested in getting, where we could gather together and just, not for the whole thing, not to isolate, not to exclude, but have that meeting, that common place at a show maybe, where we can say, oh, hey, I do recognize you. Because there were so many people at the Muletown show, honestly, where I thought I recognized them, but I wasn't entirely sure. And so I didn't approach and introduce myself or say, hey. I think that might help us out. If we could better communicate, whether it's like with the Get Piped podcast. If you don't listen to podcasts, if you're not listening to Adam and producer guy on the Get Piped podcast, highly recommend it. Also a shout out to Justin and Nate. Great to meet them at Mealtime Show from Pipes, Pours, and Pals. 2 really good podcasts, pipe tobacco related most of the time. I recommend, but they get Pipes Discord. I don't know if there's some way that maybe the YTPC needs its own Discord. But again, I don't want to be exclusionary. I don't want to isolate people who aren't part of the YTPC. But if we're trying to improve or help or bring it up, whatever, maybe that's something we could do, communicate better. Second thought was to somehow be able to organize and coordinate. And and even in the business world, I know how hard it is to coordinate meetings. But to take time away from family and household chores and honey-do lists to go spend an afternoon, an evening, a weekend with your YTPC friends is going to be hard to do. But I wonder if maybe we have more regular meetups. Maybe it's regionalized. Maybe it's state by state. Because honestly, I really don't know how many YouTube pipe community people there are in Middle Tennessee. And it's not a far cry to get to West Tennessee or East Tennessee or North Alabama or Central Kentucky, North Georgia. There's so many of us within a 3-4 hour drive that we could potentially have more regular meetups where there's no show involved, there's no agenda involved. It's just a chance to get together and truly get to know each other a little bit better. I think everyone who's been to a pipe show has talked about it, and I talked about it in my last video recapping the Muletown show, that it's one thing to have this communication here, and I love the fact that I get to talk to you guys, and some of you guys talk back. Thank you for the comments. But there's another thing entirely to be able to sit down next to someone and truly share a pipe, share a pour, share thoughts, share experiences, and truly get to know them. So if at all possible, I think, and actually I can't take credit for that idea about more frequent meetups outside of shows. I believe as myself and Ethan, Parsimonious Piper, and Chad at Griffin Pipes, and Dwight from Pipe Smoking Knife Maker, and North Georgia Piper, and there's a whole lot of us there that were, kind of Mid-South. I think it was Ethan who mentioned, actually, that wouldn't it be great if we could get together more often? And I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. So, to Flat Cap Piper, that is my answer for your prompt there about what can we do to improve. Better communication as to who is who and who's going to be where and when, so we know who to look out for. Again, not to exclude, but to include and get more people involved and encourage those that are just beginning, or maybe those that just need the encouragement. I don't know. As well as more frequent meetups, so that we don't go a year without seeing each other. I think we really build community by getting together. That's fellowship. And to you, Armchair Ed, again, congratulations on 4 years. So I think that's about all that I have for you guys this afternoon. So be interested to hear what you guys think. I've been trying to catch up on everyone's videos, and especially the VRs to Flat Cap and to Armchair Ed. Some great ideas, great comments from everybody. Lots of good things going on, so let's keep it up. But with that, I will say good afternoon, and I will thank you for joining me for a pipe and a pour. We'll talk to y'all soon. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Bye, y'all.